Hello again, Joe. We're back.
Hey, Kimberly, good to see you again.
I know
How you
I'm always
doing?
so psychotically excited, but I have to admit, I'm totally energized because I had a little bit of a break. I was on vacation and I cleared my head, and it was really nice to be warm and in sun, and it was spectacular. Part of and I know you're looking at me like, is she going to shut up? But my point is, I wanted to say thank you because you gave me some great ideas. Because the very beginning of the trip, I I went on a girls' trip, you know this, and there were six of us that rented a house, and these women are absolutely amazing. And I had told you about them before the trip, and you gave me some ideas and some thoughts, and I'm not ready to announce anything yet, but there is definitely some exciting stuff going on because these people, like, one is a doctor who is an OBGYN, and she does surgeries and all sorts of consultation for women's issues. And then one is a eye doctor who does eye surgeries, and she's done all these, I don't want to say missions, but she's done all these trips where she's helped people in Africa and all over to study their eyes and help them out. And then Leslie is, seriously, I don't need a cat. The and Leslie,
Special guest star.
a special guest star, Andre the cat. I'm sure there may be others, but yeah, Leslie has spent the last 20 years going back and forth to Africa. I think right now she's either in Botswana or the DRC because she's helping there to do some interesting things. Like her undergrad was herpetology, which was great fun to be in Costa Rica with her. But her later degrees have focused more on really helping different ecosystems. And I'm not doing a good job of this. Les would do a much better job of describing this. But she's been going to Africa for like 20 years, helping the locals do better with sustainable, healthier meats so that the different folks, and I want to say tribes, but I don't know if that's accurate, but the different groups and towns, instead of eating very unsafe bush meat, which is kind of just whatever they randomly get, which again can also be very unsafe, she's helping them to have cows and sustainable herds of better meats. And she does a lot more than that. It's not just food related, it's also to make a better balance between the people and tourism and the animals, and just trying to conserve so many different aspects of the way of their life, but also making them healthier, but also not impacting the animals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then another one on the trip is an osteopathic surgeon. My joke when I travel with many of these women is like, I can say, here, kitty, kitty, to even the big cats. And I feel pretty safe that somebody can, like, get me out of the disaster that I put myself in. And then the other one, am I missing somebody here? The other one is Catherine, who is amazing. And she's so bright and bubbly. And at first you think, you know, because she's super cute, and like I said, she's bright and bubbly, and she and I hit it off amazingly the first time we met because we were both like la 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 la, and then we realized that we both were into statistics. Like, she
Oh my
has studied
God.
statistics and immunology and all sorts of interesting. She actually works
These are
as
real
a,
underachievers you
it's,
listed
yeah,
here.
underachievers are us for sure. And so we had some amazing discussions, and you had said, wow, to be a fly on the wall. And that actually incented me to think about that. And let's just say a month later after the trip, we're still chatting and we've got some really cool ideas.
Good.
Yeah, I'm just really another thing that I'm
I just
kind of
asked for
excited
like
about.
a season pass or a free movie ticket when whatever it is
Joe,
comes out.
you for sure have a lifetime season full access pass to any of the magic that's created by
Thank
these
you.
amazing women. I'm
No, it sounds incredible. And by the way, the proof's in the pudding, right? Didn't you? The original trip was like planned for how long? And then what did it turn out to be?
Well, the original trip was a couple days in San Jose to kind of relax and just let people arrive on different flights and then we were going to fly to the Osa Peninsula and stay in a little town called Puerto Jimenez. And we rented a house there for a week, and it was a really cool, ultra modern bamboo structure that was really open. Like our first entire floor had no walls. And we had howler monkeys waking us up at 4:45, 5 a.m. each morning, screaming their little heads off. It's amazing they make that much noise given their size. I took tons of pictures of howler monkeys.
Do they, by the
Um,
way, do they come into the room and
no,
sift through things? Like,
no. I mean, the capuchins probably would. The white-faced monkeys, the same one that was on Friends. Do you remember that? That little
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Marcel?
Marcel? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, sorry, my nose is running. But yeah, so the capuchins can be very feisty and very inquisitive, and we always leave our doors shut. But that's also because the bats hang out on the
Word.
screens at the top of our rooms each night. We don't want to let the bats and the mosquitoes in, although if we let the mosquitoes in, it's probably a good idea to let the bats in because then, you know. But anyway,
Yeah,
I digress.
you just described like 8 reasons why I won't visit.
Well, I think the bats are so cute and the
That's
animals,
not,
but
it's good. No, it's there's a lid for every pot. So like
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not judging. It's more just like the whole like screaming things and then like spiders and bugs and like bats, like conceptually, yeah.
Did
Minnesota.
I did a bunch of night walks, which are exactly like they sound. They're like jungle walks at night just to see whatever you see. We went looking for reptiles, Jesus Christ lizards, which are everywhere, by the way,
Wow.
spiders. I've posted a few photos and people are like, yeah, could you have warned me on the eight-legged creatures? But I think they're fascinating. Like, there's so many colors. Like, the orb weavers are orange and yellow and purple, not purple, but green. And anyway, but yes, the trip started out as 2 days in San Jose and 7 days at Puerto Jimenez. And on the day before everybody was supposed to leave, I was kind of like, I didn't even go diving. The night walk in Puerto Jimenez was canceled because we had a little bit of rain at the beginning of January, even though it's technically the dry season. But of course, weather has been so changing in so many
Yeah.
ways. Everything seems to be a little bit off. But anyway, we got to the end of our trip and all the girls flew out and I stayed because, I had a rental car and I had driven to a little town called Sierpe. And the last, I want to say like 18 miles were washed out roads with downed trees. And I went to Sierpe by myself. And it was, I think, about 40 or 50 kilometers total from Puerto Jimenez. And it said it was going to take 2 hours to get there by 5:30. I had to leave by like 3:45. None of the girls wanted to do that, so I went by myself, which, I get. But I really wanted to see the mangroves and there were some specific endemic birds like the mangrove. Oh my God, the mangrove hummingbird that I really wanted to see.
Ooh,
And
I want to
I
see
could
those photos, both of the birds and the hummingbird, when you get a
Man,
chance.
so cool. So I did this trip by myself, and I thought, I mean, I was a little bit nervous driving in a foreign country, not necessarily knowing all the rules. I mean, I know rules of the road. I didn't really study if there were any special rules there, or, my Spanish is limited at best. I would actually say it's almost non-existent.
Did you have phone connection? Like, were you well connected to like Get Translator app or?
So that is actually one of the things I wanted to talk about today. Like I did this drive by myself. I had my GPS, I had Apple CarPlay, and even when I lost cell signal, I think they're still maintaining the GPS. There were a couple of points where it kind of got confused, so it wasn't perfect. But I felt like even when I lost cell signal, I had GPS, which I didn't think was possible a few years ago, but I know they have the satellite connectivity now, and I wonder if they're trying to do that for GPS or if they download ahead of time. Like, I don't know if you know anything about that, but I was
I've
kind
I've
of,
seen the same effect. And by the way, you probably still had better navigation than like walking around in New York City. Like I
oh my,
find in
I
super
was
dense areas,
amazed.
it's not good at all. But that's very cool. So it hung with you.
It hung with me, and I didn't feel nervous driving in Costa Rica at all. And so when it came to the trip ending, I was like, I've got this rental car. I didn't do any diving. There's still so many things I haven't seen. I didn't get to do a night walk. Like, why don't I stay? And Paul was a little bit under the weather. He had like a, snotty cold. And he's like,
Yes, you're like sold.
I
We're not.
know, I know.
No,
He
I wish
even
I could
sold
come
me on
home and
it.
take care of you.
No, no, we're not like that. We are the least empathetic people you would ever meet. I mean, you know this. Um,
Another week it is.
and he was just like, if it were me, I'd stay. And I was like, okay, sold. And
Good,
so
good.
I extended a week. And then, even then, I was finding so many cool things and meeting so many cool people and seeing so many amazing critters that I just finally went, you know what? I'm going to stay a little bit longer. And I ended up making my 9-day trip. I think it was 28 days by the time I flew back. And it was fantastic. It
So
was
glad.
really good, and I really enjoyed it. And that's part of what I wanted to talk about today, not just the trip, but the whole like change to technology and we're able to do today versus like when you and I were young. I mean, I know we're only like 22, so we're really young, but um I think about not having cell phones and not having GPS and having to get physical maps out.
Yeah,
And
remember going to like Super America and you'd have to buy whatever map was
yeah, the
local
Rand
to the
McNally map
area.
or the
Yeah,
country map or whatever,
yeah. And then the
bef-
2010 era was like MapQuest, but then I remember like I'd go to these consulting gigs and I'd have like 10 pages printed off with
yeah, yeah,
terrible
yeah.
like MapQuest, and I'd be like driving and flipping pages, and if you missed it, then that was that. There was no adaptive anything. You
No.
just turn around and hope.
And I just think, I mean, kids don't know the real pleasure of getting lost and, and
Indeed.
like
Yeah.
having to reverse engineer what they did to get wherever they are.
Okay, but how about this effect? So remember, like, if you were with a group of people and you were visiting a place and you were disconnected, like, let's say somebody, like, I had this once where somebody didn't get on the subway. When I got on the subway, door shuts, and then I immediately went, next stop,
Yeah.
because there's no way to do it, or we'd return back to the hotel room as the worst case scenario,
And be
because there was
like,
just no way to contact people on the road.
yeah, and you're just stuck and stranded and not stranded, but you know what I mean. You're just like, of course, you're frustrated, and that
Yeah.
sometimes makes everything else unravel and ruin the day. And if you're on vacation, that, messes you up even more. I'm just, I have this whole list of things like the camera, the cell phone, GPS, and even my cell phone. Like, I
Do you
took
have
so,
redundancy, by the way, on this? Because it's like always with this wonderful thing. Like I'm always nervous that I have one cell phone. For a while, I had two cell phones. It's like two is one and one is none
yeah,
philosophy.
exactly.
But it makes me very uneasy to just have one cell phone. Do
Yeah.
you?
So,
I imagine you might have redundancy.
well, I used to travel with a satellite phone
Okay,
because
okay.
some of the places Paul and I would end up were so remote that there was no cell signal and
You had to do
satellite
it.
link on iPhones wasn't there. And then I would almost always travel with a second cell phone so I could get a local SIM so I could pay lower prices. But now, if the iPhone is $10 a day for international, when you're only going to be there 90 days or 9 days, you're thinking, okay, that's not terrible. It's not great, but having a whole nother cell phone, buying a SIM and going through all that
Yeah.
extra work and then people not knowing your number, that kind of stuff. So to me, it's kind of worth it to have that. Although turning it into 28 days is, not as cost effective. But what I did do is I bought a map. I bought a paper map because I did get worried
Wow.
that like I might end up somewhere where the GPS didn't know where I was, or might end up, maybe having an issue with my cell phone. But I also travel with a battery bank. I also travel with all of the necessary cables to plug my cell phone into the car. I did have
Yeah.
some weird issues with CarPlay where I had to pull over and turn off the car and turn it on again to get CarPlay to come back. Like,
I've had that a few times. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what that is, and I need to look at that more. It's not super common. I think it happened 3 times on the whole trip, so it wasn't massive, a massive problem, but a couple of times I was like getting to the end of somewhere and then my screen would go blank and I'd be like, shh, swear words. And then I'd have to pick up my phone to see the last couple of miles. And of course, it was always like right when I really needed it
Yeah.
the most.
Left or
And it was,
right?
yeah. And it's like, oh no, which way? So I do travel with some redundancy, but I don't travel with an extra phone. And that is interesting. Like I do travel with 2 cameras, and boy, did I need that on this trip. I was amazed. I had all sorts of weird problems with my strobe configuration, which I needed for the night walks. And it would like fire at times when I didn't want it to fire. And then I had problems, I think, with moisture and
That's what
my
I was going to ask is whether this is humidity driven.
ugh, I think it all was because, oh, that was, I mean, it was 90 degrees and like 180% humidity. It felt like, you'd walk outside and I would just instantly sweat, which I'm okay with. Paul
Yeah.
absolutely hates that. But I was
Yeah,
just
I'd
like,
have to pick my hell like on this one because like right around the time you were doing that, it was negative 22 Fahrenheit in Minnesota. At that point, I would consider what you just described, but it's not like the preferred thing.
I would much rather have sweaty, nasty heat and sun than cold. I'm so much more into the heat thing. So, but this was a whole nother thing that not the heat part, but the camera part made me contemplate my whole existence mirrored versus mirrorless. I don't know if you know. I know you love photography, but I know you're not super into the tech of cameras. But
No, no.
I'm you know, I would love if people want to comment or send me email or whatever. I would love to find out people's opinions because after this trip, I'm seriously considering selling a whole bunch of my mirrored gear to go mirrorless because it weighs less. The range of the cameras, because I really felt like I didn't have enough reach with my 300. Like I had a 300, but there were times where I was like, oh, I really wish I had like a 500 or a 600. And a mirrored 500 or 600 can be like 3, 4 feet long. Well, maybe not four, but like 2 to 3 feet long. The lenses are, like you
Yeah.
have to have a tripod. You can't handhold. It's a total nightmare. Whereas a mirrorless camera, and I need to study this a little bit more because it doesn't have to use the mirror. The focal distance is smaller, like half the size. So the lens sizes are smaller. So the zoom lenses are shorter and lighter, and you can get a much longer reach lens for a lot less money because less glass means less money. So I think I'm finally at the point where I might switch all of my gear. So like that's a whole nother discussion. And I just think like I was so slow to go digital, like I was shooting film underwater, which was so hard. Like I had 36 shots, and it was
So
like,
the ones that I have framed in my house, like a few years ago, you gave me some wonderful photos of different locations. Were
yay.
those were not digital?
They were digital because
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they were Indonesia. Like you have that pink anthias fish that was
Yep. And I
so
have the
stunning.
coyote, I think,
The coyote,
and a bear.
coyote and the bear was digital, the coyote was digital, but they were early on for me. No, actually, I'm trying to think. I think,
It's just like 10 years ago, I think.
yeah, I think it was 2012 or 2020. So they were digital. They were digital. But it's funny when I did that cover, and I know I told you about this. It was so funny. So here's another very cool tech thing that I absolutely love, and I haven't done it in a while, so this is probably going to guilt me into doing more of it. And I would recommend everyone to do this. List.com or happywhale.com, like any of these citizen science sites, what they do, especially when your cell phone or your digital cameras have GPS, when you take a picture of an animal and have it positively ID'd, and of course with things like Google Lens, you can very quickly, easily ID a shot pretty accurately, I would argue. I mean, it's rare that I've seen it be wrong. So I've been really impressed. My point is, then you can go to these citizen science sites, say that 10 times fast, and log your image and any details like time of day, GPS
Nice.
coordinates, something that might have been interesting about the encounter, and you put it up, and then it helps scientists understand range because animals' ranges are
Mhm.
changing with
So it's able
climates
to for them
changing.
to log. Does it do audio as well? Like different bird
You
calls, or
know,
is that
I bet Merlin would
okay?
because, and I use Merlin a lot because you can download a local bird set. Like I downloaded Costa Rica and I downloaded Uganda when I was there. And so the point is then you get a much larger number of birds locally on your phone when you're not connected or when it's slow or whatever. And then you can upload a photo into Merlin. And I think, now I'm actually intrigued, I think you can upload a sound and it will say, that sound is the blah, blah, blah bird. I'm actually opening Merlin. And then Merlin works with Cornell Labs and eBirds, which also is citizen science because, again, it tracks like ranges and sightings and things like that. The mangrove hummingbird, one of the birds I really wanted to see, there are fewer than 1,000 left.
Oh my
And
God.
I luckily saw one because my guide knows the Sierpe mangroves really well, and he had just found this hummingbird a couple days prior nesting, and it had babies.
Oh
And
my God.
we were during the day, so no flashes or anything, and we tried to stay, not so close to disturb it, but with a 300, it was nice to get close images, and I got some amazing images of this beautiful mangrove hummingbird that was breeding. So it was like really exciting to see it breeding as well because it's, critically
What a
endangered.
what a
So,
rare event. Yeah, but yeah, I'd love to see those photos. By the
oh,
way,
for
it's my
sure.
dream when I retire to have that hat that has like the hummingbird feeder.
I
So you
bought
basically
one of
put it.
those.
Oh, you did? Oh, has it worked?
I
Have you
haven't
been able?
tried it yet. We bought
Oh
it at
my,
the end of
send it
last
over this
summer.
way. Although it's useless in Minnesota, but I want to do it in the desert.
I so want to do it and get these birds to come because we have some resident and transient hummingbirds in Redmond, but also up at the property, and we see them quite a bit. So I am really hoping that
That's
works.
that's one of my life goals is hummingbirds coming right up to me. Second life goal is having a crow just hang out with me. And
Well,
then
that
third is
one's
being able to
easier.
hug a cow and like them tolerate it. So, like
Well,
that would
that
just
should,
be like just like a three not big, none of it should take that much money, right? Like these
no,
are
no.
achievable, but
And
I have to do these before I shuffle off this mortal coil.
you need to find a local rescue of cows around Minneapolis, of which I'm
Okay.
sure a few agree, exist. And you need to send them an email and say, I'd like to meet one of your rescues. I'd like to come by. I have this goal to hug a cow. And I'm sure they would be so excited to have you. No, seriously, because I mean, after this trip, I've actually been eating more vegetarian again. I'm kind of going back towards that. I don't know if I'd go vegan again. I found that a little bit challenging until I found out that vanilla Oreos and chili flavored Doritos were vegan. And then, of course,
It's a
then
compelling argument
I know
for it.
in and of itself, right? Like,
Yeah.
I could
I
live
can do I
off.
would have to be the no vegetables vegan. That's the only way it would work for me.
I struggle sometimes because I end up going for the easy choice often, much more than I go for the healthy choice. And I was kind of a bad vegan from that perspective. But vegetarian, I feel like with my love of Thai food and Indian food and all these things, it's a lot easier. And more than anything, I just try to eat less meat. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Yeah.
need meat all 3 meals
Well, the good
every
news is like
day.
McDonald's meat isn't real meat, so,
Well, there is
it's
that.
just
Burger
so I'm
King
covered. Yeah,
Burger
yeah.
King has the Impossible Burger though.
Oh,
So
yeah. Those are good. Those are really good.
find myself, often opting for Burger King just so I can get an Impossible sandwich because it's quick, it's easy, and I feel a lot less, guilty about it. And I think they're actually really good. I mean, even Paul
I do
likes
too.
them. I've made
Yeah.
them up at
But
camp.
I mean, here's the thing. They're like definitely not low calories. Like they're definitely
It's
not
not
necessarily even good for you. It tastes good and the price is everything in
reasonable.
it.
Although
Yeah, yeah.
these days, God, even fast food is not cheap anymore. Like it's,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, cheaper maybe, but I mean, you could go to a restaurant for not much more than fast food and get, I think, in many cases, a better choice. But I don't want to digress on that too much.
No, I agree with, but by the way, I use this to justify all the AI subscriptions that I have. Is I go, you know what? Well, yesterday I got McDonald's for $40 on Uber Eats, so I can afford adding another AI subscription. Like that's like half of that. Or
That
it's
is going to
like,
be our next discussion, by the way.
yeah. Oh, I'm
I
not trying to switch it
No,
over
no,
because
but
fast food is one of my true
no, no,
loves
no.
as well. Yeah.
I want to have a big discussion with you on AI tools and favorites. And I've been
Yeah, you
looking at a
bet.
few things and I've been
Oh,
trying
today
to.
I'm on Sonnet Watch, by the way. So like not to date stamp this, but like I'm waiting for Sonnet 5 to come out, and I feel like when I waited for Star Wars figures as a kid, like I'm like, oh, is it almost out yet? There was like some kind of outage.
Oh
Somebody
my,
saw
but
Claude Code go down for a minute. Yeah,
when we waited for things when we were a kid, it was first of all begging our parents to take us somewhere to wait in a line that
yeah.
could be hours long and whatever it was.
Do you remember layaway?
Oh,
See the whole line, and then
yes.
you'd.
And then you'd be
I
like,
don't think
yes,
is
I
layaway
want
even
to
a thing
give.
anymore.
Well, they've got all that like affirm stuff when you buy
Yeah,
something
yeah.
and you
The
do
pay
like
now
four
or
or pay in 4 payments that are
yeah,
interest
yeah.
free and stuff like that. So
This was literally like you pay and you don't get the thing.
I
Like you'd
know
be
for
like, you
like,
want
and
that
then
bike?
you
See
put
you in
ten
six
dollars
months.
down, and then
Yeah.
um, I was going through a bunch of the paperwork at my mom's house, and my mother and my grandfather. I mean, you think I'm a pack rat? I mean, I know you think I think on the scale of 1 to 5 of hoarding, I'm really a 1, 1.5. I don't think I'm quite. You're a 0. You are,
Yeah.
you are,
Yeah. Ours is if you leave it sitting someplace, it won't be there tomorrow. Yeah. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's not the case
as,
here.
no redundancy in the house,
Yeah, no,
But yeah, yeah, keep going,
I'm
keep going.
quite
So you're a
impressed with you.
1.5, which, let's pull on Paul on that. Just get a
Yeah,
second opinion. Although,
Paul,
where would Paul be?
you know, to be honest, when I read the definitions of hoarding, 5 is like you can't access your exits, your paths are blocked,
Yeah.
you've got garbage and smells and
What if it's
critters and
localized, like Legos everywhere? Or
yeah, but we don't block
yeah,
exits.
yeah.
We
There's a
don't have
trail. There's a trail through
No,
it.
no, we just have bookshelves that in addition to all of the books in front of the books there's Lego, and then on top of the bookshelves there's Lego, and then we've added more bookshelves
Yeah.
so we can have more books and more Lego. But it's still
I never
relatively
felt in danger
organized.
when I'd walk through it. So that's the key thing. So it doesn't count. It doesn't count. Also, I'm like a big believer in like if you're gonna hoard something or if you're gonna collect a lot of something, you pick a few categories where you say yes to and no to everything else. So you don't have it unbounded. Like don't have 10 categories.
Now that's Paul
I
and
know.
I's problem.
I know.
We get excited about things and start to get into something and we study it and we learn it and then we buy the gadgets to do it and we might do a little bit of it but sometimes we don't do a lot of it. I mean, there's
I
some
by the way, I
things.
never understood this until a few years ago. Somebody bought me a Funko Pop,
I was just gonna
and
mention the
yeah,
Funko Pops.
and I remember it was a I think it was an Emperor Palpatine Funko Pop, and I thought, well, that's nice on my bookshelf, but it sure would look good with two more Stormtroopers. And then I got the two Stormtroopers, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. They've got Twin Peaks Funko Pops, and they also have in Game of Thrones Funko Pops. And then all of a sudden, it was like this awakening of like 5-year-old Joe woke up and said, you could buy as many of these as you want. You could just go and get every Funko Pop ever. Why not? It's not inappropriate for, I think at the time I was like 47, 48. And then it just went insane.
Yeah,
And it
and you
was like a whole
created this
light. You
thing in
remember the
your
light show?
office with the light show, and
It was, I mean, I'm very thankful for my friends that didn't, they were kind enough not to say anything. Like they were like, you know what I mean? Like, because you'd have these looks, like people would look stunned. Some people would be like, you didn't warn me how many Funko Pops were in that room. And looking back, I'm like, what on earth was I thinking? But I was very grateful for the experience because then all of a sudden I understood why people went shopping or why
and
they
collect
collected. Like before
things.
that, it never been like a concept that I understood.
It does
And then
become
now I'm
like
not
an
judgy about
obsession.
it. Yeah. I mean, I
So
donated everything. I sold
I was gonna.
I sold a
So
few. Yeah. I
wow.
mean, all
So
of a
they're
sudden I
all
woke up and I
gone. Did
said,
you not keep any of them?
no, I have one Scrooge McDuck sitting in a pile of coins, and that's it. And the part of
Wow.
it is because I looked at it and I said, and again, this is like this whole like spiritual journey of Funko Pops, but like I had all these things in the room and I said, these things don't do anything. Like there's not, you
But
you
don't
buy it
didn't they give you joy?
for a moment, like most things, like the
But they
hedonic
didn't
treadmill of.
continue to give you joy.
No, I mean, like, and by the way, I did light shows like that. Like, I'm still proud of that. Like, I had
It was
whole,
awesome. I
it was,
remember it well.
yeah. And I look at those photos and I'm like, that was beautiful. And I'm glad I did it. But I also remember feeling like that emptiness of like, okay, the only solution for this is you just keep collecting. And then once you have it, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't teach you something. It doesn't operate in, space time. It just sits there and collects dust. And so ultimately, I'm like, I'm going to sell a few of the collectibles, and then I donated the rest, and then I felt much better because I really felt
Really?
like, and then it was gone. It was like a fever, but man, what a fever!
Yeah, I
I mean,
remember you going crazy
yeah,
about it, and I thought it was really interesting because knowing you well and knowing your hatred for clutter, I'll just say.
yeah. I think the little kid in me woke up and said, I have an adult paycheck now,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm going to get whatever I want. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's what I did. And then it was like the collection. It was like going to different stores and find because they have it's a whole culture.
Yeah.
Like you have like rare finds and surprises and there's different motifs and you can get Seinfeld or whatever. I mean, it was just like this unbounded thing that I never understood.
Yeah.
And now at least I understand it. And I'm not collecting anything now. So it was like the fever passed and now I'm back to, I have a thing on the wall, there we go.
So
But that's it.
I have to ask, when you got the Twin Peaks, was there a Laura Flynn Boyle Twin Peaks?
Yes, yeah, I
Funko Pop?
had the whole like I bought this baseball bat holder
I
and
remember, and
and I
you
framed it out
converted
and I
it.
did the whole
Yes.
red room behind it and then I had the
Yes.
Laura Palmer wrapped up. I don't want to get too morbid. And then I had the different characters like Good Agent Cooper, Bad Agent Cooper, and then there's all the different characters and the dress going. I even have something up on the wall over here. I can't tell you all my secrets. You've got her doing the dance and so like I had it all. So a lot of it was like just the fun of recreating these scenes. I had like lightsaber scenes and then I had like the red light coming through it. So that was truly fun just going through that whole experiment. But again, it was ultimately fleeting.
So I'm really I've got like five things now I got to pop the stock on. So Laura Flynn Boyle, I don't know if I ever told you this, but we doubled for prom when she went to the Academy of Performing Arts in Chicago. She dated a guy named Craig who was best friends with someone I was dating, Derek, and the four of us went to I want to say it was Derek's junior prom. I don't remember if it was Craig or Lara's senior prom, and she wouldn't know me in a lineup.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't
How
remember the
do I
night
not
at
know this
all.
story
I know.
in
That's why
20?
that's what I was thinking. I'm like, God, I don't
Oh
know if I
my.
told you this story.
Wow.
And I mean, I do not remember the evening at all. Like, it was, I mean, even though it was only 3 or 4 years ago, but yeah, I just remember that because Craig was dating Laura and yeah, and that's, I mean, many, many years ago. So yeah, so that's one thing. Oh, and eBird or Merlin does allow you to upload sounds. I did
Oh,
check,
good, good, good,
which
good.
is really
Okay.
cool. You're right. So, like, if you don't know a bird, you can upload sounds. Anyway, I wanted to pop the stack on that, and then I think there was something else that I wanted to say. Oh,
Well, now my
collections.
my vision is just you like snapping your fingers in the diner and like just
Yeah,
moving around slowly. So
I
like
I
that's where I'm
haven't
at. I'm
watched
like
it. I haven't watched it. I know
season
Paul
one
loves it
is
too.
incredible. Season two is you, and then season three is I think a masterpiece. And it's not for everyone,
Paul's
but
wanted me to watch it for a long time, and we kept saying, "Okay, we need to binge watch this," and we just, for whatever reason, haven't. So
I
I'm gonna
I
put that back on my list.
put it on the list. And then also there's a book by David Lynch about I forget the name of it. It's like Catch a Fish, or it's about creativity and ideas, and it's one of my favorites.
Cool.
As a matter of fact, it's almost due for a rereading. But anyway, highly recommended. But I like it. Actually, you don't even have to. Here's like the TLDR, but like um, his whole concept is like ideas are like fish, and when you see one, you got to catch it right then and there in the moment,
Otherwise, you'll
and
lose
that
it
you
forever.
don't make the fish, you catch the fish and you prepare the fish. And so I
Interesting.
always like, so whenever I'm out and about and I have an idea and they really, flow at random times as they do,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I make sure to like note them right away if I have my phone out, or I'll write it down, and then you prepare it later, but capture those fish when it happens
Interesting. That
because they
is a
don't,
great.
sometimes they're so fleeting they don't come back. And there are many
Yeah.
times where I'm like, I know I had another idea. Like I have a blog list idea miles deep because of
Yeah.
that, which is cool because it's like, just take your pick.
Right. You
But
sit
I'm
down one
always
day and
grateful
you're
that I
like,
capture
ooh.
it.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
you
exactly.
sit down one day and you're like, okay, what should I write about? Well, if you don't have any of these things written down, you end up having decision paralysis, because you just
Yeah,
don't know what you're
yeah.
going to do. But having that list means you can go over there and say, you know what, this sounds good for me to research today or study today. I've
Yeah,
been,
but you got to write it down when
I know,
when that lightning bolt, and you know the feeling when it happens, right? Where you're like, that looks really cool. Good,
I
good, good.
keep
Yeah, you
wanting
got
to
to.
have this book with me like everywhere I go. And do you recognize it? It's
Here, it's foggy a little bit from. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I do.
Hyperbole and a Half.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
It's a website where she just tells these random stories and they're hilarious. And she kind of disappeared for a while. I don't know if she's back to doing it. It's been a while since I've looked, but her stories and her drawings, these are her drawings, and they're very, basic. But these are drawings of her as well. So she's quite funny in the way that she draws herself and communicates and tells her stories and how the stories unravel. But I keep
Wait,
thinking,
so is that a book where you can actually take notes as well, so the stories
yeah,
are woven
this
in?
book is not
Okay, got it.
is not the storybook. It's just plain. And I bought it because it's small and I wanted to like have it with me at all times, like in my purse, wherever I was, and just jot things down. And I know a few people that do this, and they have these extensive journals for years. And I know a lot of people do it. You probably do it on your cell phone, which of course I have that with me all the time. So I should
Yeah,
use that. But there's something about the writing down of something to me that, and I guess it's
I
probably my
agree.
age. Like I
No,
just,
I have the same. I have the same thing. I still take notes. My issue is that I accumulate too. We talk about digital hoarding for sure. I
right.
can be accused of that. And then there's something about when I write it in notes, I have to be very intentional. And so there's something like there's a cognitive connection there that doesn't happen when I'm just yelling into a phone.
Yeah, and it's almost like what I need to do is write down my notes, but then every day or two or every week I need to go back to all my notes and then reconcile my notes and my thoughts because I took a lot on my phone during the trip of, people that I would meet and places to go and visit, and It was insane. And I just, sometimes I don't go back to those notes until I'm going to, let's say, visit that country again. And who knows when I'm next going to go back to Costa
Right.
Rica, right? So I need to be better at consolidating those things. And then there's sometimes where I do go back to a place like 3, 4 years later, and then I can't find the damn note, right? That had the name of the driver that I really liked, that had picked us up and done some sightseeing and blah, blah, blah. And then, I find it at the end of the trip or something stupid. So, yeah.
Yeah, let's add this to the list to talk at some point about the digital brain, because I've had a few different tests of this, and it hasn't landed just yet, but including a recent attempt. There's a blogger, Substacker, wonderful podcaster, Nathan Jones. It's like called Nate's Notebook, and he had this entire series or overview of how to create a digital brain and use LLMs and Slack and Obsidian.
Uh,
Or he had a bunch of different options that you could use.
to help
And I did
reconcile
test
it.
a
And
workflow, so you could say, "Hey Slack, remember to do X, Y, Z," and you basically have a personal assistant. If you have you been watching the last 72 hours on the Claude OpenClaw stuff?
no, no, I
Okay,
haven't. So,
okay. So this actually just this shows how fast the world is moving right now. But there's this entire. It's been a little bit surreal the last few days because there's this personal assistant in a box that people are buying a bunch of Mac Minis. You install this agentic framework, and it basically takes over and it does things like, oh, you asked me to book an appointment for dinner tonight. I'll go do that. Wait, there's no web form. I'm going to go over to 11 Labs, synthesize a voice, and I'm going to call the restaurant and use my voice to do the booking. Or I'm
oh,
going to
okay.
just
So
do.
stop talking. I want this to be our next discussion
All right,
because
good. We'll pause
this is
there. It's very
huge. Well,
topical.
wait, no, I have
Yeah,
one more thing.
yeah.
I was just going to say my collection that I don't know if it rivals yours. It is definitely obsessive. I blame my mother. And now it's in honor of my mother. See, so I have another reason. But Christmas nutcrackers and Christmas things. I was going to say the one thing that's maybe what still makes me so happy about that is that I only have it out once a year.
Yeah, you can enjoy it. There's like a time box period of time. I love it, by the way. I think maximalism with holiday stuff is, especially like Halloween and Christmas. I'm all for it. Like I
I
want lights. I want it to be as garish as possible.
I haven't gone that crazy, but I'm hoping when we're building to start putting in the LED lights into all of our eaves and in and around our house so that like we can have red at Valentine's Day and like orange and black at
Do it.
Halloween and Christmas be green or white or whatever we want and be a little bit ridiculous with all of
St.
that.
Patty's Day, everything. Do it.
Exactly.
Do it. Please.
I think that is what, so I am a little, I'm not obsessed with most holidays. Almost none, in fact, except Christmas. Christmas for me, and thank God Paul is too. He's like, you're really lucky I like all these nutcrackers because like we had moved a lot of stuff up to camp and this year we didn't have any. And that's, oh my, I don't even know if I told you about this, Joe, but there was a viral DIY nutcracker craze with life size 75-inch nutcrackers that you buy from Walmart. I didn't even know about this. I joined this Facebook nutcracker group like a year ago because I was like, oh, there's other psychos like me. And I'm like, I want to see what they say and if they've got some cool tricks or places they go or favorite nutcrackers. And that in and of itself was a marginally good,
I don't
not
think
so
you're
good
alone in
idea.
this, by the way.
Oh, there's like
I know there's like a
thousands of
lot of
people
people
in
into this.
these.
Yeah.
But then I learned about these DIY nutcrackers, and they literally are blow mold, white plastic, 75-inch, 6 feet tall, Joe, 6 feet tall nutcrackers that you then paint and design and decorate and all of this stuff. I bought two of them and I decorated them. My staple colors were white, black, and silver. And then I did one that had like a deep red for its colors, and the other one had a deep green for. So I had kind of a red and green theme, but then I used silver, black, and white as kind of the anchor colors. And I will put a photo. I wonder, I haven't done this, but I'm sure I could grab a photo. I
Yeah,
mean,
put it in like the show notes.
I could do it in the show notes, or I was going to see if I could share it real quick and see if I could get it up on here because I know it's got to be in my Dropbox of camera uploads. I posted it on the Facebook alias and I got tons of comments and that was also really cool. Like this Facebook group on the DIY Nutcrackers has to be one of the most supportive, inspirational, helpful groups I've ever been a member of. Like
Cool.
people so and even everybody says that too. Like even if I don't really like a nutcracker because it's not my style, I can still see like how much creativity or excitement they had in it, and it's like wow, not my style, but that's pretty cool. I like how you did X or Y. And I find that everybody does that. Nobody says oh that sucks or ew, why would you do that, like I mean, I guess maybe I've seen one or two negative comments, but in thousands of comments. It's so supportive and so cool. And it's like one of those groups that like keeps you super motivated. Like even when I got tired of the 2025 Nutcracker, which had these ridges because it was supposed to be a wood simulated one, and it was really hard to paint as a result of that. And people were getting frustrated and complaining. And we would all be like, keep going. You're going to love it when you're done, and we'd all be, bitching about the same
How
thing.
many pieces are in these things, by the way?
Oh my. So it's not a lot of pieces. It's like the stand and the legs is one piece, and then the trunk of the body is one piece. Each arm is a separate piece, and then the head structure is a separate
Okay.
piece.
And what's the typical build time? Because this sounds like a
Well,
journey.
some people can do it very quickly, and some people like me got super frustrated like early on, and I had to step away a few times because I was just like, okay, this is a nightmare. And I'm not liking my lines because some of the detailing is really challenging, especially if you don't do a lot of painting and all sorts of stuff. So I'd step away for a few days, but then I'd come up with something and I'd be like, ooh, I started this thing in October, but I told you I took some breaks. So I didn't do it like
Yeah.
every night consistently. And I would do it while I was like watching TV or binging some shows. Here we go. I can't believe this
The
screen.
suspense now.
I know the suspense is just entire screen, this screen, share. I haven't done this in Riverside.
Oh, there we go. Whoa!
So
I
I went a little bit,
zoom in a little bit.
yeah, I went a little bit crazy. You know what? I was terrified of like, why is that not? Oh, because it's over here. I was terrified of like the eyes. And I ended up like learning about, like, I studied, and this was, I think, part of what kept me going. Like, I got
Wait, if these are
online.
6 feet, because that sure looks very tall.
Yeah, they're with the feathers, they're over 7 feet.
Oh
They
my
are
God.
huge. And so like I learned, like I got online and I said, show me macro images of the iris and the eye and the pupil and all that. And then I started looking at those and studying those. And then I looked at all the other people's like recommendations and I painted the eyes. And then I learned how to do resin, UV resin. So I did UV resin over the eyes to give them the glossy effect. And then I wasn't sure how to do the reflections. So then I started trying things out. And because I had done the UV resin, I could wipe off the paint for the reflection. And it took me like 3 tries. And then I tried the snowflakes. And I was like, you know what? It's not as realistic, but I feel like it's quite cute. And it definitely looks like a reflection in the eye. So I went with the snowflakes. And I did a lot of bling on them. I completely made, with Paul's help, these staffs from scratch, which the idea there was, I started with wood and dowlings, and then I had to cut into each of these ornaments to put the wood in, and I painted all the ornaments to match. I painted this blow mold drum set to match. Used I mean, I went a bit crazy, but it was funny because we didn't have any decorations here. And then I did the ostrich feathers, and then
Whoa.
these are brooches that I broke the pins off of on the back and ended up using putty to attach them. And then I used like glitter and bling and different metallic
Are
paints.
these weatherproof or do they need to stay inside?
I did seal them, so technically they could go outside, but I don't think I ever want to put them outside. I
Okay.
do, okay,
Just put
so
them at the foot of the bed.
so that you wake up in the middle of the night and
Yes.
freak out that
Hello,
somebody is
Kimberly.
watching you.
Hello, Paul.
I
Have
know.
you had a good sleep? Put a little AI voice in there.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. But that,
By the way, I saw special guest star Kitty at the end,
oh
just
yeah, I
over
know.
your shoulder.
He's woken up from his long
By the way, those
nap.
look beautiful. They look
Thank
really
you.
cool.
Thank you.
And they look enormous.
They are huge. I mean, the fact that we are building storage because we're going to decant like our Redmond house into storage so that we can live in these tinier houses was kind of some of the motivation. But now Paul and I are
You're
both
going to need
like,
a third
we have
house.
all this storage that like we're like, oh, we can put more stuff in it. And yeah,
Life
I
is short. Just load up. Load
I
up.
really enjoy doing them. I have to
Good.
admit, and I
Good.
enjoy looking at them. And maybe at some point, like, I can't believe I'm going to admit to this, but those are the 2025 Walmart nutcrackers. I found the 2024 Walmart nutcrackers that somebody locally was selling, and I bought a couple of those. And then I found this nutcracker prints on another website that, not Walmart, that it was similar. So I bought two of those. And then I bought these two blow mold gingerbread men. They're only 4 feet tall or 3 feet tall or something. And I've got those to paint. So but I really did enjoy sitting and painting and doing that particular hobby. That was just incredibly relaxing to me. And I found
I
I
believe it.
don't want to just sit and watch TV, but I do
Yeah.
like binging shows and like seeing a storyline and
I was
seeing
just
how it
thinking that
goes
would be
through.
perfect podcast listening activity of just working on something externally.
Exactly,
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Audibles, like Paul loves to
Mhm.
listen to audibles and then he'll do something. And yeah, that's been for me like binging shows where I mostly listen and I don't always watch and I don't really care. Or audibles because there are some books that I want to listen to. So that's something that I can do to that. So I don't know. I got a little obsessed as one does. And I don't and have not learned the ability to throttle it like you, nor has Paul. But, it's just,
No, I
it's,
don't. I have no judgment on this, and I get it. And by the way, it's like it's more just I've curated my spiky
no,
obsessions, and
I'm
so
so impressed by you. You've been my inspiration, like, because I was wanting to ask you about where the Funko Pops went, because I knew you had done something like,
they're all gone like
I
tears in the
know,
rain.
I'm so
Yeah,
impressed. All right.
yeah.
Well, this is a good place to end this one. I wanted to talk about technology, and there were just so many interesting technologies that have changed, like, even the Facebook group, like, the it was helpful and it people would share like, oh, I bought this on Amazon or I bought this on Wayfair or I learned how to do this on YouTube, go watch this. I'm amazed at how quickly we can learn things that used to take weeks or seem
Yeah.
unachievable.
That is the part that I'm just that's the part where I almost have guilt falling asleep
I
because I'm like,
know.
well, that's a few hours that I can't pick up something because we had this private amazing tutor that can take us through things and that tutor can be as patient as possible.
And you could
So,
stop and listen to it again or fast
yeah.
forward it and try something
Or
else
say
or
it another way or
yeah.
use a different analogy.
I
But
I'm
it's
so
just I
amazed.
wish I had had this 20 years ago
Oh my, I
just for
know.
that. And also, think of all the people that have dismissed topics in their life because they think, oh, it's over my head because they didn't have the right teacher or it wasn't
Right.
presented in the right way or they didn't even just have the right opportunity. And now it was just because of how it was packaged or just how it
Agreed.
was taught.
It's
So,
limitless now. Like Paul and I's joke, and of course, I should ask you to do your summary of the incredibly, in-depth Twilight series. But we joke all the time, and we say we wish we were vampires that didn't sleep, right? Because then you could study and listen and spend 24 hours a day learning all these cool things. But
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
And then, by the way, I laugh because then it'd be like, there's so much I could learn. And so then I turn on old reality shows from like
I
10
do
years
find
ago. And
myself.
then I eat treats. And I'm like, well, since I can't learn everything, I might as well learn nothing. So, yeah, numb out.
Have you watched The
So,
Pit by any chance?
no,
Okay,
no.
I'm a
You recommend
huge
it?
Noah Wiley fan from his ER days, and I watched The Pit, loved it. And Paul finally was like, "All right, I'll watch this medical drama, another medical drama," and he loved it. And
Okay.
then he's like, I think I could give ER a shot. ER has 18 seasons. Oh my,
Lord.
it's
Okay,
like
good. You're set.
I know and I've seen it. I mean, I've only seen
But
it,
that's like a comfort show for you?
yeah, and I've only seen
Oh,
it all the way through like once. Because when I want to say I had some surgery, and when I was laying on the couch going in and out of drugs, I was like, I was like, I should watch ER, and it was just on play, like on Netflix or something. I don't remember. And there were episodes I hadn't seen, right? Because
yeah.
we
I
didn't
get it.
have TiVo in the 90s,
Yeah, yeah. You just like you miss it, then
you
you
missed
miss
it
it.
and you missed
Yeah.
it. And so I found episodes that I hadn't seen. And now Paul's like, yeah, all right, I'll give it a shot. I love the first few seasons. That's like Grey's Anatomy. I love the first few seasons. So I don't mind rewatching those. I know at some point we'll probably give up, but I
One
just,
last thing on this.
yeah.
The
Another
whole
thing,
show's
technology,
playing.
TiVo, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But
streaming.
the whole being able to play things like that you've seen before is supposed to be like a nervous system regulation thing.
It
So
is.
people who yeah, and I totally get it. So like things that wouldn't like I mean you think of ER like it's like all emergencies like what's calming about that, but there's something about like when it's your favorite show just playing in the background, it's levels you out.
Yeah, I don't
So
know if ER will level me out. That's a good point,
with
but
my sister it's Grey's Anatomy for sure. Like
oh, for
if
sure,
I'm
Grey's
home,
Anatomy.
it's just playing.
That's a
Of
good
course,
one.
there's so many moments like I roll my eyes at that show because I just see people continually staring off into the distance. All the long pauses.
Seriously?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's definitely one of my
Come on,
favorites.
get it moving.
I
I
know.
know, I know, I know.
It's no,
I'm
I
treading on
know.
very dangerous
No,
territory
no,
here.
no. I'm just like I'm a huge Patrick Dempsey and Meredith Grey fan.
Hey, yeah, I'm stepping away slowly from this.
No,
Like,
I know.
I love the show.
No.
Did I say I didn't? Oh, I love
No.
it.
I
Yeah.
am not offended when people don't like something because my common saying is if we were all the same, how boring would this world
Yes,
be,
it would be.
right?
It would
So
be.
everybody has different opinions and different, but it's amazing to me that we've got access to so many things. You're right. And then we go back and we watch some of the same shows
I
because
think
we
it
want
is,
to
yeah,
feel
I
that
think part of
same
it is you need the
feeling or
breaks. You
yeah.
need those breaks though. That's the other thing. So, but the key thing is just making sure you don't fall completely into like a hypnotic stupor. Like
Yeah.
you take breaks, but then you also go deep. And
On
the
new
real
stuff
satisfying
and
moments are when you get that new stimulus.
yeah,
So,
for sure. And God, we've definitely got the ability to do that these days. So,
yeah,
on
yeah.
that note, that's actually a great place to end. So, I look forward to talking to you
Always a
again,
pleasure.
Joe. All
Yeah,
right.
this was fun.
I know this
Thanks,
is,
Kimberly.
and I knew it wasn't our normal tech talk, but there's
This is our
so
2026 off-topic kickoff.
well. It's also because technology is so widely varying and so instrumental. Like even if we brought it to SQL for a second, like if people jotted down topics they wanted to learn and
Yeah,
every day went to their list and spent 20 minutes or 30 minutes learning a new topic or going to a webcast or whatever, it's amazing how much exists that's out there that's good useful content. I mean, and free. There's a lot of free
agreed.
stuff. I mean, there's a lot of paid stuff that goes often deeper in depth or more comprehensive, but I'm just saying people can get that breadth and figure out where their interests are so that they can really spend their money on the things that they want to learn in depth, and
Yeah,
get deeper content for. So I'm amazed at how much exists. So anyway, all right, we can end there. Thanks,
great
Joe.
chatting. Thank you.
Bye. All right.
Bye-bye.